The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and regret. Sena Kordei stood frozen outside room 304, her designer heels clicking against the sterile tiles as she shifted her weight from one foot to the other. Inside, her mother lay dying, and she was 3 days late. But let's go back to where it all began. 23 years earlier, in the bustling coastal city of Lomori, Sena Kordei walked through the glass doors of Zenith Commercial Bank wearing a burgundy suit that made heads turn. People whispered when she passed, not just because of her beauty, but because of the way she carried herself, like a queen who had seen too much rain but refused to let her crown slip. They called her Madame Iron and Velvet. She could reduce a loan defaulter to tears with a single glance, then smile so warmly that they'd thank her for the scolding. But nobody saw what Sena looked like at night. Nobody saw her crying in the bathroom while her infant daughter screamed in the next room. Nobody knew how heavy silence could be when you sleep alone in a bed that used to hold 2 people. Her husband had been gone for 6 months. A fishing accident, they said. His body never returned home. One evening, after another exhausting day at the bank, Sena came home to find 8-month-old Nailah wailing inconsolably. The nanny had left early, muttering something about a family emergency. Sena picked up her daughter, bouncing her, singing to her, but nothing worked. The crying pierced through her skull like a drill. Then she saw it. A stuffed rabbit on the floor. She picked it up and waved it in front of Nailah's tear-streaked face. The crying stopped instantly. Nailah reached for the toy with chubby fingers, giggling through her tears. Sena exhaled, leaning against the wall. So that's what you wanted. She didn't realize she had just made a deal with the devil. As the months rolled into years, the pattern solidified like concrete. Nailah learned quickly. When she cried, something appeared. A pacifier. A new dress. A colorful ball. Each time, Sena felt a rush of relief so powerful it became addictive. The guilt of missing bedtimes, of being too tired to play, of choosing overtime over story time, all of it could be erased with a simple transaction. By the time Nailah was 4, she had mastered the art of manipulation without even knowing it. "Mommy, I want the doll with the pink hair," she'd say, pointing at the toy store window. "Not today, sweetheart. We have plenty of dolls at home." Nailah's lower lip would tremble. Her eyes would fill with tears. "You don't love me anymore." And every single time, Sena's resolve would crumble like wet sand. Okay. Just this once." Sena's neighbor, Mama Olu, watched this dance with growing concern. One afternoon, while hanging laundry on adjacent balconies, she finally spoke up. "Sena, you know I love you like a sister, but that child is becoming something you won't recognize." "What are you talking about?" Sena's voice was sharp, defensive. "You're raising a customer, not a daughter. Every time she whimpers, you pull out your wallet. What happens when your wallet runs dry?" Sena turned away, clipping a bedsheet to the line with more force than necessary. "I'm giving her the childhood I never had." "What's wrong with that?" "Nothing. Until the day she realizes you have nothing left to give." But Sena didn't listen. She couldn't afford to. Listening meant admitting that the only language she knew how to speak with her daughter was the language of gifts. And admitting that meant facing the terrifying possibility that she didn't know how to love any other way. The years marched on. Nailah grew taller, prettier, more demanding. By primary 4, she had a room that looked like a toy store had exploded inside it. Stuffed animals lined every shelf. Dolls still in their boxes were stacked in the corner. Board games with plastic wrap intact gathered dust under her bed. The irony was brutal. Nailah had everything. But she played with nothing. One Tuesday afternoon, Sena's phone rang during a meeting. The school's number flashed on the screen. "Mrs. Kordei. This is Miss Adebayo from Sunshine Primary. I'm calling to remind you about the debate competition today. Nailah is competing, and she specifically asked if you'd be here. Sena glanced at the conference room full of executives waiting for her presentation. Oh God. What time? It starts in 20 minutes. I can't make it. I'm so sorry. Please tell her I'll make it up to her. She didn't hear the disappointment in Miss Adebayo's voice. She didn't see Nailah scan the audience 3 times, searching for her mother's face among the sea of parents. She didn't witness her daughter's shoulders slump when the realization hit, Mommy isn't coming. Again. But she did see the text message that came 2 hours later. I came second place. Where were you? Sena sat in her car outside the bank and cried for 10 minutes. Then she drove to the biggest electronics store in Lomori and bought a brand new smartphone, the kind that cost half her monthly salary. When she got home, Nailah was lying on her bed, still in her school uniform, staring at the ceiling. Baby, I'm so sorry I missed you. I don't want to talk about it. Sena sat on the edge of the bed, pulling the gift box from her bag. I got you something. To say I'm sorry. Nailah sat up slowly, eyeing the box. Her expression shifted from hurt to curiosity to something that looked disturbingly like calculation. She took the box, opened it, and her eyes widened. Is this the new Z phone? Yes. I know it doesn't make up for missing your big day, but... Thank you, Mommy. Nailah hugged her mother, but it was brief, transactional. Then she was already turning on the device, her fingers flying across the screen, her mother instantly forgotten. Sena left the room feeling hollow, like she'd won a battle but lost something more important in the process. By secondary school, Nailah had transformed into a young woman who turned heads when she walked through the gates of Rosebridge College. The private school was a monument to privilege, where even the janitor spoke in hushed, respectful tones. Here, competition wasn't about grades, it was about who wore the latest fashion, who had the newest gadgets, who could make other girls jealous just by existing. And Nailah was determined to be queen of that world. Mommy, everyone at school has the Z-Phone X, she announced one Saturday morning, barging into the kitchen where Sena was making breakfast. Good morning to you too, Sena said, not looking up from the eggs she was scrambling. I'm serious. My phone is 2 generations old. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Nailah, I bought you that phone less than 2 years ago. Exactly. 2 years. I look like a village girl compared to Kemi and Tola. They laugh at me behind my back. I can tell. Sena set down the spatula and turned to face her daughter. 14 years old and already fluent in the language of status anxiety. Nobody is laughing at you. And even if they are, why do you care? Because I do. Why can't you just get it for me? You have a job. I also have bills. Rent. Your school fees, which aren't cheap by the way. Food. Electricity. My medication. Here we go again with the guilt trip. Nailah rolled her eyes. Forget it. I'll just be the poor girl with the old phone. She stormed off, leaving Sena standing alone in the kitchen, the eggs burning on the stove. That night, Sena lay awake calculating numbers in her head. If she skipped buying new work clothes this month, if she ate smaller portions, if she walked to work instead of taking the bus twice a week, maybe she could save enough by next month. She hated herself for even considering it. But she hated the distance between her and her daughter even more. The Parent-Teacher Association meeting happened on a humid Thursday evening. Sena sat in the third row, fanning herself with the program while the principal droned on about academic excellence and character building. Then Mr. Okonkwo, Nailah's class teacher, approached her during the break. Mrs. Kordei, may I have a word? Of course. They moved to a quieter corner of the assembly hall. Nailah is brilliant, he began. Her essays are exceptional, her science projects show real creativity. But I'm concerned about something else. Sena's stomach tightened. What is it? She's becoming very materialistic. During our life skills class, students were asked what makes them happy. Most said family, friends, hobbies. Nailah said shopping. When we discussed gratitude, she talked about things people bought her, not things people did for her. She's just going through a phase. Mrs. Kordei, with respect, this isn't a phase. This is a pattern. She values possessions over people. She measures love in price tags. If we don't intervene now, by the time she's an adult. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Sena laughed it off, made excuses, promised to talk to Nailah. But driving home, tears blurred her vision so badly she had to pull over. She gripped the steering wheel and sobbed, great heaving gasps that came from somewhere deep and damaged inside her chest. Because she knew Mr. Okonkwo was right. And she knew exactly who had taught Nailah to be this way. The incident happened 3 months later, right before Nailah's 15th birthday. Sena got a call at work from the principal secretary. Mrs. Kordei, you need to come to the school immediately. Her heart stopped. Is Nailah hurt? No, but there's a serious disciplinary matter that requires your presence. When Sena arrived, she found Nailah sitting outside the principal's office, examining her freshly painted nails with the bored expression of someone waiting for a bus. No shame. No fear. Just inconvenience. Inside the office, the principal explained. We discovered that Nailah has been selling her personal items, phones, perfumes, jewelry, even textbooks, to other students. She's accumulated quite a sum. For what? Apparently, she's planning a birthday party at one of the hotels downtown. Without your knowledge or permission. Sena turned to her daughter, who had been summoned into the office. Is this true? Nailah shrugged. I wanted a nice party. You always say we can't afford things, so I found a way to afford it myself. Isn't that what you're always telling me? Be independent. The principal's mouth fell open slightly. Sena felt like she'd been slapped. That night, their argument shook the walls of their small apartment. How could you embarrass me like that? Sena shouted. Embarrass you? What about how you embarrass me? Showing up to school events in old clothes. Driving that ancient car. Never having money for anything. I work myself to exhaustion for you. And then you try to buy my forgiveness. Every time you miss something important, you buy something expensive. Don't act like you're so different from me. The words hit Sena like bullets. Nailah wasn't finished. Her voice was cold now, surgical. You taught me this, Mommy. You taught me that love comes in boxes with price tags. That guilt can be erased with shopping bags. So don't stand there and preach to me about values when you're the one who showed me that things matter more than time. Sena opened her mouth but no sound came out. Nailah grabbed her phone and walked to her room, closing the door with a soft click that felt more final than a slam. Sena collapsed onto the couch and cried until her throat was raw. Because deep down, in the part of herself she tried so hard to ignore, she knew her daughter was absolutely right. 3 months after the incident, Sena was at work when the left side of her body went numb. She tried to stand and collapsed. Her colleagues rushed her to Metropolitan General Hospital, where doctors delivered the diagnosis, mild stroke brought on by chronic stress and hypertension. You need to slow down, the doctor said. Your body is sending you a warning. But her body wasn't the only thing sending warnings. The bank's HR department sent a letter 2 weeks later. Early retirement package. Reduced pension. We value your years of service, but given your health condition, we think it's best for everyone involved. Translation, you're a liability now. Goodbye. Sena's savings evaporated faster than morning mist. Hospital bills. Medication. Rent. Utilities. She started a small fabric selling business from her living room, but the margins were razor thin. Some days she sold enough to buy groceries. Other days she sold nothing at all. The gift stopped. Not by choice, but by necessity. And that's when Nailah's true face emerged. "I need money for a class trip," Nailah would say, barely looking up from her phone. "I don't have it this month, baby. Maybe next." "Ugh. Fine. Whatever." No questions about how Sena was feeling. No offers to help with the fabric business. No interest in anything that didn't directly benefit her. Nailah had become a beautiful, well-dressed stranger who happened to live in the same house. One evening, Sena fainted in the kitchen while preparing dinner. She regained consciousness on the floor, staring up at the ceiling fan, her head throbbing. She managed to crawl to the couch and call Mama Olu, who rushed over and helped her to bed. "Where is Nailah?" Mama Olu asked. "School event. She'll be back late." "Have you called her?" "No. She gets annoyed when I interrupt her activities." Mama Olu's face hardened. "Sena, that girl needs to know. Please. Don't. I'm too tired." Mama Olu said nothing more, but the look in her eyes said everything. The collapse happened on a Thursday afternoon. Sena was sorting through fabric samples when the wall tilted sideways. She tried to grab the table but missed. Her head struck the floor with a sickening crack. Mama Olu found her 2 hours later, unconscious and barely breathing. At the hospital, they called Nailah's phone 17 times. She finally picked up on the 18th. "What?" "I'm in the middle of an exam. Your mother is in the hospital. Metropolitan General. Room 304. "Oh. Okay. I'll come after my exam. It's really important." She didn't come that day. Or the next. Or the day after that. She finally showed up 72 hours later, dressed in a crisp white blouse and jeans that probably cost more than Sena's monthly medication. She carried a bouquet of roses, bought from the hospital gift shop, still had the price tag attached. Sena was awake, barely. Her eyes tracked Nailah's entrance. "Hi, Mommy. Sorry I'm late. School has been crazy." Sena's voice was a whisper. 3 days, Nailah. I know. But I'm here now. Look, I brought flowers." She placed them on the bedside table, already checking her phone. "I don't need flowers." "What?" Sena's hand trembled as she reached for her daughter's arm. "I need you. Just you. Not gifts. Not things. You." Nailah patted her mother's hand absently. "I know, Mommy. But I really have to go. There's a study group at Kemi's house. But I'll visit again soon, okay?" She left before Sena could respond. Mama Olu, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, finally spoke. "That child has no idea what she's losing." Sena closed her eyes. She never learned to see it. 2 weeks later, Nailah returned to school for exam prep. She called her mother once, a 30-second conversation where she asked if Sena had transferred money for textbooks. She didn't ask how her mother was feeling. She didn't ask about the test results. She didn't ask anything that mattered. And then, 3 weeks after that, the call came. Mama Olu's voice was shaking. "Nailah, you need to come home right now. Your mother is asking for you." Something in Mama Olu's tone made Nailah's blood run cold. She grabbed her bag and ran. But by the time she burst through the apartment door, breathless and terrified, it was almost too late. Sena lay in her bed, her skin ashen, her breathing shallow. Mama Olu and 2 other neighbors stood vigil. Nailah fell to her knees beside the bed. Mommy, I'm here." Sena's eyes opened slowly. A faint smile crossed her lips. "Nailah, my baby. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't come sooner. I didn't know it was this bad. Please don't. Shoo. Sena's hand found Nailah's cheek. I need to tell you. Save your strength. The ambulance is coming. No time. Sena's breathing was labored. I gave you everything. Toys. Clothes. Phones. Everything, except. Except what? The only thing that mattered. A tear rolled down Sena's face. I wish I had hugged you more than I bought for you. No, Mommy, no. You gave me everything. You were amazing. Please, just hold on. But Sena's eyes were already closing. Her chest rose one last time, then fell still. Mommy. Mommy. The neighbors pulled Nailah away as she screamed, thrashing against their arms, begging her mother to wake up. But Sena was gone. And for the first time in Nailah's life, no amount of money could fix what was broken. The funeral was held on a grey Saturday morning. Neighbors and colleagues filled the small church, sharing stories of Sena's kindness, her generosity, her strength. Nailah sat in the front row, numb and hollow, barely hearing the words. After the service, while sorting through her mother's belongings, she found an envelope with her name written in Sena's shaky handwriting. Inside was a single folded note. My darling Nailah. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I taught you the wrong language. I'm sorry I made you believe that love could be purchased. I'm sorry I was too tired, too guilty, too broken to give you what you really needed, my time, my presence, my undivided attention. I bought you things because I didn't know how to give you me. And now you've grown into someone who measures love by the weight of shopping bags instead of the warmth of hugs. That's my fault. My failure. My deepest regret. I wish I had hugged you more than I bought for you. I wish I had listened more than I spent. I wish I had been brave enough to let you be disappointed sometimes, because disappointment builds character and gratitude in ways that constant indulgence never can. Please forgive me. And please, my darling girl, learn from my mistakes. Love is not something we buy. It's something we show. It's showing up. It's being present. It's staying even when it's boring or difficult or thankless. Don't make my mistakes with your children. Be there. I love you. Always. Mommy. Nailah read the letter 3 times before the tears finally came. Great, wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. She crumpled the letter against her chest and cried for everything she'd lost and everything she'd never truly had. The next morning, Nailah walked into her room and stared at the mountain of possessions that surrounded her. Designer bags. Expensive shoes. Gadgets and jewelry and clothes with tags still attached. All of it suddenly looked like trash. She spent the entire day packing. 3 large boxes filled with items she'd demanded, received, and barely used. She loaded them into a taxi and gave the driver an address. St. Mary's Orphanage sat at the edge of Lamourie, a modest building with peeling paint and a garden full of children's laughter. When Nailah walked in carrying the boxes, the matron looked skeptical. Can I help you? I'd like to donate these. And, if it's okay, I'd like to stay for a while. Just to help out. The matron studied her face, saw something genuine beneath the expensive clothes and perfect makeup, and nodded. Come. The children swarmed around the boxes, squealing with delight at each item. But one little girl, maybe 7 years old, ignored the presents. She walked straight to Nailah and wrapped her thin arms around her waist. Thank you, Auntie. Nailah froze. Then, slowly, she hugged the child back. Really hugged her. The kind of hug her mother used to give before the gifts took over. What's your name? Nailah asked. Grace. Well, Grace, would you like to play a game? Grace's face lit up. Yes. Nailah spent the next 3 hours playing with the children. No phones. No distractions. Just presence. When it was time to leave, a small boy tugged on her sleeve. "Auntie, will you come again tomorrow?" Nailah looked at his hopeful face and felt something crack open inside her chest, something that had been sealed shut for years. "Yes," she said, wiping her eyes. "I'll come tomorrow. And this time, I'll bring myself." Over the following weeks, Nailah became a regular at St. Mary's. She helped with homework, played games, read stories, and most importantly, she listened. She learned the children's names, their dreams, their fears. She learned that the best gift she could give was the one her mother had tried to give her all along: presence. One evening, while walking home from the orphanage, she passed her mother's favorite fabric shop. The owner, Mr. Taiwo, waved at her. "Nailah, I heard about your mama. I'm so sorry. She was a good woman. Thank you. You know, she used to come in here every week. Sometimes she'd buy nothing, just talk. She'd tell me about you. About how proud she was. About how much she loved you." Nailah's throat tightened. "She did. Oh yes. Every single time. She'd say, 'My Nailah is going to change the world someday. She believed in you so much.'" Nailah nodded, unable to speak. She walked home in tears, but they were different tears now. Not just grief, but something else. Something like purpose. 6 months later, Nailah stood in front of her secondary school class during life skills period. Mr. Okonkwo had asked if she'd be willing to share her story. "My mother died believing she failed me," Nailah began, her voice steady despite the emotion churning inside. "But she didn't fail me. I failed her. I failed to see what she was trying to give me until it was too late." She looked around the classroom at faces that reflected her own past, privileged teenagers who measured their worth in brand names and price tags. We live in a world that tells us stuff equals love. That the more someone spends on us, the more they care. But that's a lie. The biggest lie I ever believed. She held up her phone, not the latest model, but the one her mother had given her years ago. She'd gone back to using it. "This phone is old. Outdated. My classmates probably think it's embarrassing. But it's the last gift my mother gave me before she got sick. And I value it more than anything new because it reminds me of what really matters." A girl in the front row raised her hand. "What's that?" Nailah smiled through her tears. "Showing up. Being present. Choosing people over things. My mother tried to teach me that her whole life, but I was too busy looking at shopping bags to see her heart." After class, several students approached her. One girl, a sophomore named Amora, looked particularly moved. "My mom keeps buying me stuff too," she whispered. "But I never see her. She's always working." Nailah put her hand on Amora's shoulder. "Tell her you need her time more than her money. Trust me. Tell her before it's too late." Every Sunday, Nailah visited her mother's grave. She'd sit on the grass and talk, telling Sena about the children at the orphanage, about the students she was mentoring, about the person she was slowly becoming. "I wish you could see me now, Mommy," she'd say. "I'm learning. I'm changing. I'm trying to honor your memory by being the daughter you deserved." 1 year after Sena's death, Nailah organized a donation drive at her school. But instead of collecting things, she asked students to donate their time. They spent a weekend at St. Mary's, not just dropping off boxes, but actually connecting with the children. Playing. Listening. Being present. The transformation in her classmates was visible. The same. Teenagers who had once competed over who had the newest gadgets were now competing over who could make the kids laugh the hardest. At the end of the day, Nailah gathered everyone together. "Thank you for coming," she said. Thank you for giving something that can't be bought yourselves. That's the most valuable gift anyone can give. Grace, the little girl who had hugged Nailah that first day, ran up and handed her a crayon drawing. It showed two stick figures holding hands under a sun. That's you and me, Grace explained. Because you always come back. Nailah knelt down and pulled Grace into a hug. And I always will. I promise. As she held that child, Nailah finally understood what her mother had been trying to tell her all along. Love isn't found in shopping malls or wrapped in pretty paper. Love is showing up when it's inconvenient. Love is staying when it would be easier to leave. Love is choosing to be present in a world that constantly tempts us with prettier, shinier, newer things. Love is hugging someone like they're the most valuable thing you own, because they are. Tonight, wherever you are, I want you to think about something. Who in your life needs your presence more than your presence? Who needs your time more than your money? Who needs a hug more than a gift? Don't wait until it's too late to realize what really matters. Don't wait until you're standing at a graveside, drowning in regret, wishing you could have one more conversation, one more ordinary Tuesday afternoon, one more chance to just be there. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling us about the time you chose presence over presents, or maybe a time you wish you had. And after you finish watching, put down your phone, close your laptop, and go hug someone you love. Because that's the gift that really matters. That's the price of love, and it doesn't cost a single cent. Thank you for watching.